Cloud Vendor Benchmark 2014. Trend Micro in the special analyst interview. Mr. Schneider, I'd like to welcome you.
Thank you very much.
We'd like to know how your customers, your key customers, act this time. What are the requirements they have to learn? What have to be done for the next time for being secured?
Yeah. Well, basically there are two requirements. The first one is and was security. I mean, security has been around since a few years in the cloud context and still is the number one topic or the number one headache for customers. The interesting thing that we learned during the last 1 to 1.5 years is automation. So customers are asking us, how can we actually automate the complete deployment process, including security? So they want to, let's say, dynamically deploy new systems and don't want to attach security afterwards, but as part of the actual deployment process. So they want to prevent, let's say, setting up systems or deploying systems and forgetting about security. So integrating security becomes one major key point that we're talking about.
Okay, so that concerns your internal processes, and I don't know, what does it mean for your company?
Well, actually, it's twofold. The first thing, of course, our products need to be automation capable. So we need to have hooks in our products which allow the customers to integrate those products into the deployment process. So if they choose to deploy 100 web servers, well, security, let's say Trend Micro security, is part of that deployment process. The other side is, for instance, the licensing perspective. So if you are a cloud service provider, if you're offering security services to your customer, you might have a varying number of customers per month, per week, or per year. So you need to integrate into our licensing backend to do some kind of pay-per-use. So if you're having 10 customers today, you're paying, let's say, for 10 customers for a month. If you have 20 next month, you get those licenses automatically from our licensing backend. So it's kind of pay on demand or use on demand.
Okay, and what needs to be done to meet these requirements of your customers?
Well, the thing is, the providers need to, let's say, integrate their systems into ours. So they need to provide the software, they need to provide the solutions and the knowledge to the customer. And of course, if they want to dynamically provide those, let's say, varying number of licenses, they need to integrate into our back-end systems. So it's a classical value chain.
Okay, and what kind of innovations can we expect from Trend Micro in the near-term future? In
the near-term future, well, actually, it's twofold. We, of course, have a strong focus on mobile security. And I mean, securing mobile devices is not directly cloud-related, but the back end for those mobile devices is, in most cases, in one form or the other, is the cloud. So we need to secure those devices, and we need to secure the back-end services that those devices rely on. That's one part. The other part is the typical thing of Internet of Everything or industrial control systems, which are becoming more and more connected, which become part, let's say, cloud of their own. So we need to secure those systems as well, and that's what we're focusing on.
Okay, interesting. And what kind of innovations can we expect from Trend Micro in the next 5 years, let's say about?
I'll give you one example. Everybody's talking about BYOD. I mean, everybody calls it bring your own device. We call it bring your own disaster, because you basically end up with company data on a private device. For instance, we are offering a solution right now which allows the customer, or let's say the end user, to use his own device and at the same time work with company data with the native applications on his device without the actual data ever being written to the device. So it sounds kind of strange, but it allows you to completely separate the private device and the company data without forcing the customer, without forcing the end user to, let's say, have his private device under an MDM, or without forcing the end user to work with a container solution which they don't like anyway. So that's what we're working on, for instance.
Okay, and in addition to that, what is your advice for your customers or professional service providers to meet the requirements for being secure in the cloud?
I would say the number one advice is learn the lessons that others already learned, especially the big cloud service providers. If you take a look at those huge cloud service providers, I mean, they are running a massively deployed, a massively distributed set of systems worldwide. They are deploying systems in a rate of thousands a second, and they don't do this manually. They have completely automated processes. So the setup of the systems is automated, the deployment is automated, even the shutdown is completely automated. So all the tools and processes to automate the deployment, including security, of course, are there. And that's the advice that we can give to customers. Take a look at those tools and processes. Learn the lessons that those providers learned to, let's say, have a more efficient way of deploying your own IT systems or even deploying your own IT systems to the cloud, because the tools are there, the processes are there, and we can learn from it. And let's say the advice to the cloud service providers or providers in general is kind of the same. Don't restrict yourself by providing just pure services or pure resources. Instead, take your, let's say, trusted advisor role for the customer and show them those tools, show them those processes, help them to maybe simplify their IT, to streamline the deployment processes, because at the end of the day, if the customer streamlines his IT, streamlines his processes, where does he deploy his systems to? To the customer, to the provider, which actually showed him how to simplify his IT. So it's kind of win-win for both.
Okay, and what kind of innovations can we expect from you, or respectively Trend Micro, for the future?
Well, if we stick to this whole automation process, we already have products and solutions in place which have those automation hooks in place. But we work on massively enhancing those hooks so that you are even more flexible, that there are more opportunities to automate different things within the processes, different things within the products to, let's say, provide a more fine-grained security when deploying to the cloud. So basically it's enhancing the already existing capabilities, massively enhancing those capabilities by providing additional hooks and maybe even additional services.
Okay, thank you for this very interesting interview, and I hope that Trend Micro is next time, 2015, again leader in cloud computing security.
Thank you very much. We're working on it.